showtime.
There we go. Nick, why don't you hit us with the synopsis there? It's a little bit short. I feel like you're not really you're getting shortchanged there a little bit.
Nothing wrong with that. The
Mm.
spirits of a deceased couple are harassed by an unbearable family that has moved into their home and hire a malicious spirit to drive them out. The way that's written is a little weird because it sounds like the unbearable family is trying to employ the malicious spirit.
This couple are harassed by
Don't you think it's a little odd? I'm not. It's I mean, obviously,
yeah. Well, I think you still got the spirits there as the still object of the sentence there, right? That's the subject of the sentence, and it all
yeah,
just refers back to them.
yeah, that's fair. I think the commas what threw me off there because I don't think you
Mm-hmm.
need that necessarily, right?
Well, is by a preposition?
Uh, I
About, above, across,
thought
after, against,
so.
among, around, at, before, behind, beside, between, beyond, by, down, during, except for, from, and onto, off, on, over, past, through, throughout, to, over, until, up, with, bump, ba-da-dum, bump, and of.
Well
So
done, sir.
yeah, it is.
Yes, it is. But sometimes it acts as an adverb, which I did
Okay,
Google.
fair.
I didn't do a song in my head like West did. That was impressive,
But
though.
that unbearable family could be the object of the preposition there, though.
So there you go. Either way, that's the synopsis of Beetlejuice.
Yes, very, very nice synopsis there, Nick. Cast and crew. This is directed by the famous Tim Burton and written by Michael McDowell, Larry Wilson, and Warren Scarron. Starring Alec Baldwin as Adam, Gina Davis as Barbara, Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice, which the spelling,
Yeah.
this might be an unanswerable question or probably something in some research there. But Beetlejuice is spelled a little different than the phonetic sounding of Beetlejuice that's in the title of the movie. Annie McEnroe is Jane Butterfield. Maurice Page is Ernie. Huge Stanger, that's funny, as Old Bill. Rachel Middleman as Little Jane. Catherine O'Hara as Delia. Jeffrey Jones as Charles. And Renona Ryder as Lydia.
This brought in 74.7 million worldwide. Only 50K of that was international money. And this at 8 million came opening weekend. The budget was 15 million. So obviously this absolutely kicked ass at the box office. Kind of stunning that we didn't get a sequel. I know we're supposed to be getting one.
I know.
Did. My introduction to Beetlejuice was actually not the movie, but the cartoon that came out after.
Very popular cartoon.
I love that. I don't know how many episodes there were, but it came out. I didn't realize it was the year right after 4 seasons, and it ran from 89 to 91. So obviously, it did, like you said, did pretty well. This has a 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb with an 86-82 split on Rotten Tomatoes, 4.5 out of 5 on Google reviews, with 82% of Google users liking this movie. I feel like if Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb existed back in 88, this would have gotten a much higher score.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I'm not sure if the exact version of this movie gets made today.
No.
If you were to do a shot-for-shot remake.
No way.
Absolutely particularly not. Michael Keaton's Beetlejuice, who's very crass in this.
Very much.
But in a refreshing way. So for a score and tweet length review, I give this an 88 out of 100. This is a fun rewatch that has spooky elements, but it's spooky fun, not spooky scary. It loses most of its points, though, for me with all the suicide talk. I just a little didn't do it for me. Particularly, we'll get into it, but Keaton is an animal in this movie. It's a tour de force performance by him for we talk about guys who come off the bench, best performance by a side character. He might actually, by time spent in the movie, qualify as a side character, but of course he's the titular character as well.
It's honestly remarkable, and I'd forgotten because I obviously watched this recently, but I rewatched it a couple of years ago too, and hadn't seen it in a long time before that. And it's like how the fuck did they pull that off? But anyways, we'll get to that later. Where you and I are same building, maybe at least the same block, if nothing else.
Yeah, we're on the same floor of the apartment.
Oh, okay.
Doors down.
90,
three doors down.
90 out of 100 to your 88 out of 100. 35 years later, and this is still immensely rewatchable. Yes, obviously there are certain things that you couldn't do today, but somehow they pull it off. Perfect for the people who like spooky stuff, but can't take that full step in to horror.
That's me right there. So this is right up my alley, and let's dive right into the spooky review questions here. So, before we get into the movie, though, where does this rank among your favorite Tim Burton movies? And then maybe before that, do you like Tim Burton as a director? Where does he
Yes.
stand for you?
I don't have a Tim Burton like out of the rankings for where he stands like among other directors, but I do
No,
like
no,
his
but just
stuff.
a general opinion about him.
I enjoy him. Like
No.
like his vibe. I mean, I've talked about it before, but like it wasn't until recently that I really got into horror because I just couldn't handle it. Like my
Hmm.
imagination has a tendency to get the best of me, still does. But I've learned to power through that a little bit better. But I've always liked this like horror adjacent type stuff, and he delves into horror obviously, but he knows how to toe that line where it's like, yeah, it's still scary, like spooky and like almost maybe a little bit, but it's not scary by any stretch of
Hmm.
the imagination. So I've enjoyed his stuff. To me, Beetlejuice is top 4 movies for him. I don't know exactly like where it falls, but like it's
Hmm.
this, Sweeney Todd, Batman, obviously, and then Sleepy Hollow. I fucking love his Sleepy Hollow.
See, I remember seeing Sleepy Hollow in theaters and then never again.
Hmm.
But I'm not like I like Tim Burton. I respect his style, his vision, but I think it's weird and it's the off-puttingness is off-putting for me. Like the whole thing is kind of like it doesn't everything feels kind of I don't know, slimy. Like I don't know, like it's like weird. I don't feel good when I'm watching his movies.
Tim Burton is definitely not for everybody. Like, there's no question
Yeah.
about it. And this is where you and I, like, this is where we start to like stray on the path from one another. Like, this is the kind of shit that I like. So, yeah, I get why you don't.
Because like I think he uses Johnny Depp all the time,
Yep.
and why can't I think of her name? Beatrice.
Um, God, I mean, I think it's his ex-wife, isn't it?
Oh, is it? I mean, they work together like all the time in movies, so it's interesting the actors that he chooses with because he also has a little thing for Michael Keaton as well. Obviously, with Batman Returns, and this, but he kind of attaches himself, kind of like a lot of good directors do. Christopher Nolan with Leo or Joseph Gordon-Levitt or Tom Hardy or Scorsese with De Niro or Pacino or Leo, right? Everyone's kind of got their guy at a certain time. So I respect that. If you like working with people, continue working with them. But so I'm not huge on Burton, but I do think this is in top 5 for me. I think Edward Scissorhands is in there.
Mm.
Big Fish, which feels like a stray from that kind of like uneasy feeling that I get. It's a nice father-son kind of quirky story. Then Batman Begins, and then somewhere in the mix there is Beetlejuice.
Helena Bottom Carter is who we're going
Mm-hmm.
for there. But yeah, she's in everything. They were together for 13 years, according
I
to
can see that pair
yeah.
being together. Actually, that makes sense.
So
They have a similar hairstyle. I feel like.
she's awesome. She's absolutely crazy.
Do you ever hear that when like the dog turns in or like the owner turns into the dog and they start looking like one another? Like that's kind of probably what happened between them and their relationship. And they're like, we just have to get away because we're
that's
morphing into one person.
That's interesting. So I recently rewatched mentioning the dog thing jogged my memory. So we just rewatched Nightmare Before Christmas. I was going to mention this in the Discharge Depot, but it's relevant
Mm-hmm.
in this moment because in the Nightmare Before Christmas, the dog Zero. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I saw Lauren came across this thing on TikTok afterwards that in reality, I think it's Frankenweenie, Corpse Bride, and Nightmare Before Christmas are actually a trilogy. And the guy, and
Mm.
because that you have the guy looks very similar in Corpse Bride and Frankenweenie, and
Mm-hmm.
then he has that same dog, which is like the same type of dog in
Oh, and that's
all
the
the movies.
tie-in. Yeah, the
Yes,
dogs. Oh, that's interesting.
it's the connection's never made in the movies, but like if you look at Frankenweenie and Corpse Bride, they look exactly the
You
same
could,
and
yeah.
similar build to Skellington.
So you and Lauren were like Charlie Day and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, just connecting all the dots, smoking cigarettes down at the bottom there. I know you haven't seen
No,
that
I know
show,
that
but
one.
you
No.
probably know the meme, right?
Yes. Oh, of course. I know that one. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
weird.
yeah.
I've only seen a big 5 episodes of It's Always Sunny, and one I've seen twice, and it was the freaking one where was it Mac was going to play catch with Chase Utley. I don't know why.
Oh yeah. Yep, that's good stuff there. Chase Utley is a recurring character. He comes back a couple of times.
He actually goes on the show.
Yeah, he gets on the show. Him and Ryan Howard, actually. Yeah.
Ryan Howard.
And then he comes back later when he's on the Dodgers.
Oh, okay. So yeah, this is why I have to watch this. Okay.
Yeah,
Anyways,
so it comes back. It's a good show. If nothing else, by the end of this podcast, if I will be happy if you just start watching it, It's Always Sunny.
it's gonna happen. It's definitely. You have done enough work to earn that.
We can end the podcast at that moment.
Wow.
I will feel satisfied and full. My cup will be full.
Then it never happened.
But yeah, let's dive in here to the real questions. What is the most rewatchable scene from this movie?
Well, you jotted down your notes first, so I don't want to steal your thunder, but I think
it's the icon. It's really the only choice.
Yeah, 100%. It's the dinner party scene. There's no. I mean, that's what everybody
thinks
of.
Yo.
Yeah.
Yo. It's just so fantastic. Catherine O'Hara is great. We got some questions here about Jeffrey Jones and some of the things that he did, but he's actually kind of a staple for this late 80s, early 90s type of character. Of course, Ferris Bueller, he has an all-time character there is Principal Ed Rooney.
Yep.
But yeah, so I think very funny stuff with all the uppity yuppies, just breaking down for a little bit there.
Yeah, and then also every time Michael Keaton is on the screen, which isn't all that often.
And it's like he's almost like Deadpool in the sense where he's firing off so many zingers and one-liners that you have to rewatch his scenes to like fully get them because they just are flying so fast. Everything that he says, so it's really fun to go back and rewatch this.
So according to like the fandom sites that like are out there, like the fandom Wikipedia type sites that are out there, there's apparently a Beetlejuice wiki. Apparently he's only on screen 17 to 18 minutes of the whole movie.
Right. Yeah.
And he doesn't show up
a 2-hour movie, right? Yeah.
I remember he doesn't show up to the 25-minute mark in the movie. Crazy.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. And even then, like, they show up, but he doesn't really speak all that much, right? You don't really see his face. You kind of see his hands, and then you see the advertisement, but until he really shows up on their doorstep.
Yeah, just a little bit of muttering here and there too. But it just goes to show you that, like, if you do it right, if you do it like Kyle Schwarber instead of Adam Dunn, you can be very effective.
Anything else? Any other rewatchable scenes in here? I do kind of like when Adam and Babs go to the helping room in Death there in the waiting room. So they have all the different animal or monsters there. And then they go through and they meet with that lady. I think that's kind of a fun scene there. Again, great set design, great prosthetics and makeup use here. In an age where everything's dominated by green and blue screens and CGI and everything. To see actual practical effects and practical prosthetics, I guess. Yeah, it's cool stuff. Cool to see.
Yeah, that kind of goes into what I have for what age the best. But yeah,
let's go. I got nothing else. Yeah, hop right in.
Yeah. So so obviously the character of Beetlejuice alone. So in terms of what aged best, right? In a way, he doesn't age well because there's so much stuff that he does that like you wouldn't see on screen now. But at the same time, Keaton plays the character like such a piece of shit because that's what he's supposed to be. That it works in a way where I'm watching it now and I'm not like, ooh,
it's almost in a likable way. Like Michael Keaton is a likable guy. Like I don't know. Like I think it kind of plays like some people wouldn't be able to get away with what he says, but I think because he's such a likable guy, and he was like. Again, in a lot of comedies, I think he worked on SNL for a little bit of time. I could be way off on that, but he has some comedy chops, or like was in maybe like what is it, Second Street comedy troupe in Chicago. Yeah, I feel like he maybe did some improv stuff with the SNL guys, but nevertheless, he's got the funny chops.
He's hosted it a few times apparently, so there's that at least. But I guess for me, it's just the way he's also like it's the way the character's written really puts him in a spot, and it's like again one after another. Like there's no off switch on this character. He's just like he's an asshole. Period. End of discussion. That's what he is. So to me it works so well that it's just a lot of the stuff again that's like today you wouldn't see these kind of things. Now it's like I'm rewatching. It's like no, it's like he's just really that filthy of a character that it all makes sense. And another thing too, you started talking about the prosthetics and everything like that. It's amazing, like how well some of this stuff works. Like I know we watched it years ago, and like we're used to the like stuff of that time where it's like you're gonna deal with prosthetics. Maybe like a kid now, like, like if a 15-year-old kid watching now, they say, like, well, what the hell's all this janky
Right.
ass shit going on? I get it, but to me, where we have a lot of times we're like, it was made in a different time, it's fine. I look at this and I'm like, no, like some of this shit's still pretty damn good. Like when they mess around with their faces, like when Alec Baldwin stretches out his nose and Gina Davis does the thing where their jaw, it's like, no, those look pretty damn good still.
Yeah, and even there's something like with the way I can't remember the scene, but maybe it's the sandworms going in there, and the first time you see them kind of chomping on you, and it's like it flips the camera really quickly. It was a cool camera effect, so they're able to kind of show practically these like albeit kind of janky looking sandworms,
Yeah.
but it looks like it's like attacking. It's a cool effect. It looked like they're both there at the same time.
Yeah, and then also too, like bring up the worms, it reminds me of like where we see Gina Davis ride in on the worm shortly before that, where her and Alec Baldwin just get immensely old too. Again, these are things that would be CGI'd right now, and I'm not saying it won't look better if they go and do something like that in the next in this sequel that we're supposed to get, but it looked outstanding when they did it back then too. So it's just and the thing with Burton too that Lauren enlightened me to. Like he doesn't just work with like Helena Bonham Carter and Johnny Depp a ton. Like there's like all the people behind the scenes as well. He works with the same people over and over again.
Probably a good boss to have. He's probably a nice guy. It's just weird.
Apparently.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird guy for me.
Yeah.
A quick note on Michael Keaton, who's a failed stand-up comic. So he was probably around some of those guys in this. I remember hearing some stories like that. But again, that comes with delivery and understanding timing and tone, and where comedians can get away with saying so much more, and that you can still laugh at that. Other people would say, you'd be like, whoa, what's going on here, right? So I think that also, again, aids to it, just to kind of hammer that point home. But I really loved Catherine O'Hara in this, and then just her playing an uppity rich lady in a suburban area, right? That's aged very well. If you're a fan of Schitt's Creek, she does that, in a little bit of a different manner here, but everything she does here, I think, is great. I love Adam's model town set in an attic. I think that is a lot of fun. That's a hobby that I wish I could be, adept enough with my hands to be able to put those together and the little models together. I think that's very interesting. And then the whole effect of having Beetlejuice in there too. Pretty cool.
And also on the Catherine O'Hara note, which I agree with you on that 1,000%. She's also in The Nightmare Before Christmas as well.
Oh, yeah. See, okay. Coming back in.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely there. And she's another great improv stand-up. I'm not sure a stand-up, but she was a great comedian.
Second City.
That one I think was Second City. You're right. Yeah. So good stuff there. Anything else on what aged the best?
I mean, this movie ages well, clearly too. I mean, it's just for all the weird stuff that goes on with like on screen, it's like it still ages very well.
Well, yeah. Now I'll say when he's not, killing people on set inadvertently, Alec Baldwin is aged pretty well, because I love him on 30 Rock. He's one of my favorite characters in Jack Donaghy there.
Yeah, I've only seen a few. Again, another thing I've only seen a few episodes of, but every time I've watched it, it has been pretty damn good.
It was interesting to go back and watch it, because I only see him as like a smooth, like a slick talking corporate businessman, high up boss. Because whether it's 30 Rock or even The Departed, right? He still kind of has that slick talking police chief, high ranking officer type thing going on. So to see him as kind of like a young, skinny yuppie, it was cool to see.
Yeah,
I don't know if he was a yuppie yet necessarily, but a young guy.
This is another thing too, where I go back and rewatched it, like again a couple years ago after not seeing it for a long time. It's like, oh my god, I forgot. Like, and also like I also think of when I think of Beetlejuice, especially with the cartoon being more prominent for me, I think of him of Beetlejuice more so because he was so prominent there. And then I also think of Lydia. Because again, those two characters are so prominent, but it's just seeing Alec Baldwin. It's like after so many years, like, wait a second, who that is? That it took me a minute to figure out that was Alec Baldwin. Unlike Gina Davis, who it's like right away that's her. Wareham's own, right?
Is she from Wareham? I didn't know that.
Yeah, my dad says it all the time. That's why I know.
Oh, really? Oh, wow, that's a nice poll then. That's a good. I'll have to start using that there, because I was just going to say, I think she's aged very well. She has a very like warm, angelic type of persona around here, like motherly but sexy at the same time.
Did you know she was married to Jeff Goldblum?
Oh, really?
Yeah, for 4 years.
All right, good stuff. Good,
Yeah.
good for the Fly. Chaos theory working out.
Yep. But Wareham, Massachusetts is where she and went to Wareham High. So there you go.
Wow, good
Yeah.
get.
She's a Viking.
Good get there. Yeah, all right. Go Vikings.
Look at that.
Vikings, they've been down on their luck in recent years. They need a good win here.
There's their yeah. It's been a while. I mean,
aside from the basketball team, I think the basketball team won a state title recently. But
oh, they did. Okay, I mean they're always freaking so.
Yeah, that's the one sport they're great at, right?
Always outstanding. Anyways.
So Gina Davis, I thought she aged very well. Anything else for what aged the best, or do we want to move on to the worst here?
Yeah, let's get this out of the way.
I mean, Jeffrey Jones.
Yep.
I think he was a child diddler. I don't want to be throwing out accusations like that, but alleged. I think that's what he was guilty of. So that doesn't age all that well there. But the suicide talk, that didn't really do it for me. I mentioned that in the tweet length review. It's brought up a couple times. Winona Ryder talks about wanting to die a couple times, but the one that really threw me off was again when Adam and Babs are waiting in that waiting room there, and the receptionist comes up who is they're all joking around. I forget what the joke was, but the punchline is her showing her wrists. It's something like, if I'd only known how good life was earlier, or something like that. And then she shows up both of her wrists that are slit, and I don't know. That was like, ooh, that's dark for me.
Was it Michael? Somebody said it, and I don't know if it was Beetlejuice that said it, but somebody in the movie actually says, like, if you kill yourself in real life, you become a social worker in the afterlife.
Oh, yes. Okay, there we go. Yeah, he's probably saying that to Winona Ryder.
Probably. That's yeah. But when they said that, I was like, oh wow, like that's a great little like callback within the movie because of that girl.
That is. I'll give some props to that. But overall, it's like a touchy thing.
Yeah.
And again, Keaton wanting to marry a high schooler, because she says early on when she thinks when Adam and Barbara are trying to scare the parents there with the sheets over their heads, and she thinks they're having sex because they're just like keep moaning and moaning.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I'm still in high school, and then later you see like Keaton ogling over her and then bargaining with her to get married.
Yep, that is Beetlejuice has a lot of questionable stuff, but there's no question that's.
But he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy, though.
He is. He's a real piece of shit.
The other thing,
hair.
Yeah, exactly, real piece of shit. This was a weird plot line that kind of got thrown in there, but Charles trying to buy up all the property to sell as like a supernatural museum destination place. I don't know. I just thought that was just kind of, I didn't really care for that too much.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
I was like, that's kind of weird. I don't know. It seemed kind of out of place. I know it's kind of a device to get his former coworkers out for the dinner party, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't they like him enough where they just want to come and see him?
Yeah. Clearly not.
Just have a good dinner in Connecticut.
Is that what it was? It was Connecticut. Oh, that's right. It was Connecticut. Oh, that's right.
So it kind of gives like a upstate Sleepy Hollow, type of vibe in upstate New York, like just upstate, but
so just upstate, because when we were driving to Buffalo recently for that wedding we went to, I was like, oh, what'd be cool is if we like stop by Sleepy Hollow. Now I know Buffalo's as pretty much as upstate as it gets. It's very west. Yeah.
Yes,
it's west and north. But I was like, oh, maybe Sleepy Hollow is like a little bit south. We could dip down, just drive through or whatever. Because I've always just thought that was such a cool story and everything. And then I look on the map and I'm like on my GPS, I'm like, the fuck? It's like it's closer to New York City than it is here. Like,
yeah. But again, I think we had this talk in the group chat when I think Goo was in upstate New York, and I was like, how far upstate are you? Because depending who you ask, if you talk to people in the city, again, like White Plains, New York, if you're familiar with that area, is just above the Bronx. That's like upstate to some people,
Yeah, because like Albany, I think it was Albany that came up, right?
And that's technically that's central New York, but again, depending who you ask, that's upstate.
But that's another one where it's like not even close to like on our, because we're driving, like we're coming from New Hampshire going to Buffalo, and we're kind of actually at the same height. But so we do have to dip down a little bit, but we don't come anywhere close to Albany in the course of things. From Connecticut, you do, but not from our direction. So again, another mind blowing thing.
Oh yeah, we had to make that trek when I was pledging in my fraternity. We had to go to Albany and then Buffalo, go to Niagara Falls.
Oh, really? Did
Yeah.
you go to the Canadian side or just the U.S. side?
No, just the U.S. We had to just go and stop and get Polaroids of and evidence of there. So we had this whole scavenger hunt checklist that we had to do that brought us to Western New York down to like
Oh,
North
geez.
Central Jersey.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, all in a weekend there, Times Square, all that stuff. Good times. But yeah,
Oh, wow.
so
It's a
I'm
lot.
familiar with that distance there. Yeah, you don't sleep.
Yeah, no, I would think not. I was thinking back to because we went to Niagara Falls too, and just didn't think to bring the passport. Could have, after 30 years of never going outside the country, could have done 2 countries in a month span. Missed opportunity. Anyways, moving on.
Anything else for what age the worst, other than our geographical knowledge?
No,
No?
you covered everything that needed to be covered.
All right, I think we got there. Okay, so this is interesting here. Do we want to put in Beetlejuice as a side character?
I mean, like having him in. If I actually don't know how long the runtime is for Beetlejuice, but if you're in the movie for 18 minutes, that's yeah, I feel like that would be a side character, but he's a title character too.
I know it's tough. I mean, if you look at my screen here, he's in the center of it.
Wes, how long? I have it in front of me. How long do you think Beetlejuice was? An hour 30, 2 hours, or 2 hours and 30 minutes?
I thought it was right around 2 hours.
2 hours and 30 minutes.
Is it really that long?
That's what I'm seeing. Okay, wait a minute. That's Beetlejuice the musical. I'm sorry.
Oh, you got.
It's okay. IMDb. It's an hour 32. So it makes
okay.
it makes a little more sense. Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say 2 hours 30 minutes.
Well, if we do have him in there, then I think he takes it.
Yes.
He takes the cake, right? So but for the sake of argument, let's remove him from the situation here for a second. Adam and Babs, afterlife caseworker, the old lady.
Yeah, I think
advised them to not call Beetlejuice or her old partner. Actually,
yeah.
I thought she was very sassy. The whole interaction with the football team, I thought was very great. All that. Yeah, so she was good.
Yeah, I thought I would say somebody from the whole social worker setting, and that would be either the receptionist, the caseworker. The caseworker definitely takes the cake between those two, and then the football player who kept talking to the caseworker.
Mm-hmm.
And by the
Coach, I don't think we're alive. I don't think we made it.
Yeah, exactly. Your coach isn't here. Yeah, I thought that was that was probably of the side characters, probably the caseworker though has to take the cake.
Now, who I like, I'm not sure if it's better than the caseworker here, but as Delia's agent / art manager, who's
so
just
weird.
a dick to her. I don't know what they're like, why he would be employing her or vice versa. Why they would be working together? Because he just trashes her art the whole time.
I mean, yeah, it's very strange. It's like, okay, if she's not successful, do you, as long as you believe in her art, I get it. If she's successful and you don't like her art, well, she's successful, so I get it. But she's not successful and you hate her art. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, exactly. And that they make another reference to her killing herself there during the dinner party. That is like any suicide-inspired artwork.
Oh, I thought it was talking about. Oh, I thought it was Otho. Okay, there wasn't anything about Otho's girl too, whoever that was. That was his girl.
Oh, maybe they were referring to her. Yeah, his date, but his friend or something like that. Right?
Yeah.
I think he's gay, but yeah, whoever his +1 was for the evening. I think
there was a lot of there was yeah. I guess I didn't realize how much suicide talk there was.
Yeah, so but there was that though. But if we want to circle back to what age the worst, real quick, Delia's paintings or Delia's art sculptures were gross, atrocious.
I'm gonna push back on that. They were shit then; they're shit just as bad now. They didn't age poorly; they're the same shit.
But one thing that I think did age well, which I didn't really understand at the time, but was Otho's. That's a weird name. That name doesn't age well. But when he's going to reorganize the house, redesign the house, they put up that fake door that's on like the raised deck that they have, or the fake wall with the looking window.
Yep.
I never liked that as a kid when I watched it. I never really understood it. And then I'm like, this is really cool because it sets a really nice picture. and like it frames that that backyard really nicely with all the trees in the sky. So that would be a nice thing to walk out on.
I was gonna say, is that your next project now?
No, that's above my pay grade. I have to be able to draw a line somewhere. Yeah, yeah, exactly. One day though, I was saying to Jules actually the other day is that like Phil Dunphy, played by Ty Burrell. He's been like my guiding force of a positive dad. You know what I mean? Like a TV dad. Like that's the guy that I want to emulate there. But it's a marriage between Tim Allen and Phil Dunphy.
There you go. Okay. Yeah.
Dorky, fun, but not as beta. And then you got Tim the Toolman Taylor can get shit done. Still be a man. Maybe go home and bang the wife after the kids get put to sleep, you know?
Are you going to work on the grunt too? Or are you going to leave that to me?
Oh.
Okay.
How's that? I need some work?
Yeah, that was the marriage of Tim Allen and Santa.
There we go. Yeah.
Because you had yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'll give her some work. Maybe next week I'll see what we got there.
It's a good start. Yeah, next week. We're going to try it next week. We're going to get there.
Who lost the movie?
Beetlejuice? Because he didn't get what he wanted. He just gets used in the whole thing, and then he gets screwed over and trapped in the end. So, and it gets head
really do his job, though. He didn't really do that good of a job.
I mean, I guess it's fair, but in the end, like he was trying to double cross them and try and find his way out, and then he didn't, and he got his head shrunken. That's
true. That's a good point. I do like that witch doctor. I like that move. That was a nice little move that he did.
Yes, at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
We've all thought about trying to pull that move.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You're standing at the deli counter, right? Yeah. I got you at the supermarket, trying to wait there. I did not like Otho's character.
Okay.
Something about like the snooty, uppity gay man. That's tough. That's a tough, likable character because he's inherently looking down upon everyone else.
He's a dick.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. But it is interesting though his love for the supernatural and the paranormal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so that's it maybe equals his interior design work.
Yes,
according to him.
I wonder if Tim could say the same.
Yeah. How's his interior design? Maybe we do like a crib style episode here. We go see our former guy in the chair.
Yeah.
Get a little tour of his place, see if it holds up.
Yeah, there we go. It's just an Otho thing is they're all paranormal investigators.
Oh, yeah. I have a feeling they're messy.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain Tim.
They got a lot going on. They're cluttered.
Yeah.
Cluttered minds, cluttered space,
Tim's a very busy man too, so.
Oh, yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. Catherine O'Hara, again, I think she's hilarious, but that role of her character, well, I guess you should say Delia, not Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah.
She does it very well, but again, very unlikable character. Kind of like a self-centered, lacking self-awareness, self-absorbed. How many other words can I say? Narcissistic. Narcissistic. Again, not very well likable there. And makes you wonder, right? Because like Jeffrey Jones or Charles is just kind of like a normal guy.
Yeah, their relationship doesn't make a lot of sense, but I mean,
she's in it for the money. She's gold digging.
That's very true. I would, if Catherine O'Hara is good enough of an actress that this could get pulled off, and it'd take a really good actor or actress.
She's great at it.
Well, what I'm about to say, I would love to see her. I would love to see Delia and oh God, what is her freaking name in
Schitt's Creek?
This is such a sin that I can't remember her.
Oh boy. I couldn't tell you. I whipped through that series so quick and never picked it back up.
Oh my God, why can't I think of her name right now? Maura. Jeez.
Maura. There we go. Good call.
If you had those two like having a dinner, I would love to watch that interaction and see what that's like. So I don't know if she could.
That would be fun. She's very talented. I could see her pulling that off.
Yeah, if they could
pull a one-woman show.
Technologically, they could probably pull it off. If she could do it, I mean, if she was open to it, I would. Oh my God, I'd pay to see that for sure. But yeah, her character is another one that sucks in this movie. As for who won this movie, we know who the obvious choice is, and I'll let you hammer that home in a second.
Yeah.
But I think Burton's makeup team is a big winner here.
For sure.
I also think so who's the the writer for this was
Oh, it was a couple of them.
Michael McDowell, Larry Wilson, and Warren Scarron. I think this is a huge win for those guys too, because you look at what they did, like as where we talk about like how weird it is that Michael Keaton's only in this for 18 minutes, but he's the titular character. It,
Hmm.
like, well, like that says a lot about how this movie was written. Dialogue is great. The plot
Hmm.
is outstanding in the way all these different characters are utilized. And you have obviously a great cast too. I don't know where Winona Ryder was in her career at this point, but I mean,
I think
obviously,
it's kind of young at this point. Yeah.
yeah.
That's just my guess, but she looked young. Yeah, I can't imagine she did too much more before that.
And that I mean, Catherine O'Hara had done she'd done Second City for a while, and she'd done some other stuff.
Hmm.
But like, I'm sure this was a huge one for her. But like again, these obviously Baldwin's young. I don't know where Gina Davis is in her career, and then Keaton. But like still, like they just an outstanding. Like you have this great team of actors, but the writing here brings it all home. So I think for them, huge win too.
I agree. And just to piggyback on Burton's makeup team, Burton's set design team.
Mm.
That's another big staple of his career, right? He's got great set designs, very intricate and again practical. So in an era of CGI, blue screen, green screen, all that, to get that practical effects, whether they're using is it macro photography, is when you like use the small set design, you make tiny sets and then it looks real life, but you just zoom in. So
Hmm.
you don't have to create everything big. I think they do that a couple times. Obviously, with the reference to Adam's miniature town setup there. But I think that's really one of the best things about this film. But it's Michael Keaton that takes the cake.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean,
It's everything about him's great. He's kind of on this hot run right now. This is probably his highest point as an actor. This late '80s, early '90s kind of thing. So we're catching him right at the peak.
yeah, and now that he's getting this renaissance too, it's kind of awesome. I'm like as we're wrapping this up, I'm really fucking excited to get a Beetlejuice sequel.
Do you have any information on that, or when to expect that, or is it just production kind of wrapped up in production hell right now?
I saw 2024 when I was looking at stuff, but I
Yeah,
don't think
I
I
don't
would.
think that's happening.
Yeah, I would take that with an absolute grain of salt. So maybe 2025, like bring
Hmm.
it out around like at Halloween or September.
Okay,
Why not?
all right, I'm here for it. I'm here for it, and I'm also here for the original Beetlejuice. I gave it an 88. Nick gave it a 90. That's a CMM aggregate score of carry the 12, 89.
Yeah, I think that's
89, pretty
right.
good. Pretty good. So go watch it. It's available on HBO or Max or whatever you call it these days.